Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. It's your host, Matt Zahab. We are buzzing as always, still coming in hot from beautiful Mexico. And today we have Gregg Bell on the show today, Senior VP at the HBAR Foundation, also known as Hedera. You guys know HBAR. They had an absolute crazy, in the best way possible, year last year, and I can't wait to get into it. It's been actually, I want to say it's been two and a half years since we've had someone from HBAR on the show, so super pumped to get back into this. Before being SVP of HBAR, Gregg was previously the head of growth at Binance US. Ever heard of Binance? That's actually super cool. Got to get into that too. Overseeing several business lines. Before that, he co-founded and led the asset management business at A3 Financial Investments, which was a NASDAQ listed fund, and the crypto lending business at Salt Blockchain, where he served as CIO and COO. Gregg's entrepreneurial and investment experience spans over 15 years and bridges TradFi and digital markets with roles at two multi-billion-dollar hedge funds. He's done a bit of everything and holds a BS from the Vanderbilt University School of Engineering. Go Vandy. Gregg's philanthropic activities include founding a nonprofit charitable foundation in 2009, which has funded the construction of several elementary schools. Gregg, welcome to the show, my friend. Pumped to have you on. How you doing this lovely morning?
Really excited to be here. Thanks. Doing well.
Great to have you on here. Let's jump right into it. Normally we start with the pre-Web 2 stuff, the pre-Web 3 stuff. Wow, long morning here. But you worked at Binance US. That must have been pretty wild. Must have been a bit of a shit show as well. I mean, I remember when Binance came into Canada, and then a couple months later, Trudeau and the Gov was like, hey, smell ya. Thanks for coming. Get out of town. Not same sort of thing, but crazy stuff happened in the US as well. What was it like working for CZ, and what was it like working at Binance US? And then we'll get into all the HBAR stuff.
You know, Binance is a battleship, and
yes,
the crypto ecosystem, I always think that there's tides, the ebbs and flows, the volatility, the cycles of the market. And so I used to always say you want to be on the biggest ship, and Binance certainly is that. Maybe Binance US is sort of like, a smaller ship to the behemoth.com, but really talented team. And one of the departments that I oversaw was the listings team. And I really loved that part of the business because you get exposure to all these different protocols and they're seeking to list.
That must have been fun. That must have been cool.
It's amazing. You really get, the cutting edge, but you also get to start to see the differentiation across various protocols. And when the opportunity came to join the Hedera ecosystem, it was one that I was already familiar with. And Hedera really sets itself apart technology-wise. The horsepower that exists for Hedera in terms of its tech stack is unparalleled and unmatched in others. So it's quite an exciting opportunity to move over. And that was about a year ago.
That's awesome. Any stories with CZ? I'm sure you got to work with him a couple times. Sick puppy. I've heard he's a super quiet dude, just like beyond brilliant, very calculated, great listener. Yep. Any CZ stories to tell us?
And I think the whole team there is really talented, very forward looking. CZ is a very smart guy. So, a great experience overall.
Super cool. Let's jump into HBAR. Did they give you a call? Were they looking for something? Like, walk me through the process. Again, you're working at Binance US. Must have been a pretty sweet job. And then not jump ship per se, but move over to HBAR. What happened there? Give us the goods.
Yeah, so I knew Josh, who was previously the CEO of Binance US. He was also the CFO or some time before Brian Schroeder. So I knew the ecosystem well, and he was a close friend of mine. And so always had a good dialogue with the Hedera ecosystem and with him himself. So that's where it's sort of how my journey began professionally. But I'd been in crypto for quite a long time. I was an investment banker originally, and then back in I guess my journey really began in a bar, maybe even a saloon in Denver, Colorado. And I walked and met a whole bunch of people that were really enthusiastic about crypto. There's a cowboy, there's a rock star, there was a bankruptcy lawyer, a restaurateur that was successful, and that was my sort of beginning of my journey, meeting these people that from different walks of life that were really excited about crypto. And we started a company together. So that was my first sort of entrepreneurial venture. And a gentleman, Eric Voorhees, we sat down and he was saying, hey, wouldn't it be great to have, a lending market and to have there be credit for Bitcoin? It's not just an asset that, no one can lend to. And so we birthed the credit market. And, that was sort of incubated in many ways in the same area of Denver as Shapeshift at the time. And so I got to know Josh, who was the CFO at Shapeshift as well. So it was a very sort of circular process.
That's super cool. I mean, you and I were scheduled to speak at the end of last year. And one of the questions that I really wanted to talk about was just the crazy year you guys had, the growth, obviously the token price, absolutely everything. But what were sort of some of the main catalysts for your guys' rip last year? An increase in just positive sentiment, an increase in really good narrative, an increase in token price, of course. And I never like really hammering home the token price point of things, but like in crypto, it really does matter. When your token goes up, people care about you. They get horny for you. It's just, for better, for worse, that's how it is. What's in any company in the history of the world, what has always been the best marketing ever? It's, stock price go up, people are going to care about you. That's just sort of how it works. It's the same as everything in life. If you have a friend that you ever made money for, they're going to love you forever. Fear and greed makes the world go round. But what were some of the really big growth factors that really made HBAR rip last year?
Right. I mean, you look at the last 3 months and HBAR was up over 400% or something of that, to that tune. And so it certainly has had a lot of momentum, and I would attribute that to a combination of two big things. One is certainly awareness, right? But it's awareness of what? It's awareness of the technology. It's awareness of all the builders, everything that's been built on the ecosystem, which has continued to grow in spite of the bear market. And so, a lot of credit to everyone that has been building within Hedera, both on the EVM level as well as the native HTS, which is the token standard service for Hedera. And so there's just a tremendous amount of innovation. The DeFi ecosystem has really been one that's been taking off over 2024. I expect that to continue. We've got Sausage Swap as a DEX, we've got Bonzo and others as lending protocols. So there's a lot more activity native there. But then there's been so much work that the Hedera ecosystem put in place from the beginning. You look at back in 2018 and 19 when Hedera came out, it came out of the gates as a U.S. company born in Texas and saying, all right, a U.S. protocol, and saying, we're going to build something for the long term, right? Really long-term vision. And I think that's incredible. And that's really where the horsepower of the technology, something that's scalable to meet the needs of any corporation, the aspirations of any startup, any developer, anybody that can build. And, they put together this impressive governing council model where some of the world's largest corporations are governing the networks. You've got the tech giants like Dell, Google, IBM, LG, Hitachi. You've got virtual world gaming companies like Ubisoft. You have investment banks, Nomura, Shinhan Bank, and then Standard Bank. You've got a number of the corporates like Boeing and Tata, WorldPay, ServiceNow. So some of these just enormous global brands, and bringing them onto into a Web3 world is no easy feat. So there's a huge amount of legwork that went in there. So I would say that's sort of the combination and the realization of the market of what has been done and what is continuing to occur is reflected, I think, in what we've seen over the last several months. I think that often people are surprised when they recognize or discover that Hedera is the most used public protocol, right? I mean, in terms of transaction count, it has more transactions than Bitcoin, Ether, and combined. And that comes as a surprise to many. But the reality is that when you have a protocol that enables institutions to interact, they operate at a scale that's very different than that of a retail individual or anybody that's just doing fewer interactions with any protocol. And so I think that's it's a combination of a whole bunch of different things, but it's ultimately the ability to scale, right? The network has been able to continue to produce day in, day out and remain up at a throughput that is unparalleled and unmatched by protocols. And so, when there's been meme crazes on others and it's caused networks to go down, Hedera has operated at a higher throughput and continued to operate. And so it's that tech prowess is what I was referring to when I was saying it at Binance US, when I was looking at various protocols, what makes Hedera unique. It's this combination of being an extremely powerful and flexible protocol and engine for whatever you're trying to do. And then as the awareness grows of that, I think they're just, the sky's the limit.
Very well said. It's crazy how much different Web 2 is to Web 3 when it comes to investing. Because like if HBAR was publicly traded on the NASDAQ or NYSE or whatever exchange you want to call it, the narrative would be so different because in Web 2 and in TradFi, the ability to have, tech that is primarily based and the use cases for institutions, like that would be valued crazily high. And it would be like, hey, like, let's hammer this stock. This is very valuable. But in Web3, it's almost like if the consumers aren't using it, and obviously consumers are using HBAR, but it's more, at least in my opinion, more institution based. It's a different narrative because it's not as like trendy and sexy. It's not like everyone's not talking about it 24/7 on Twitter like Solana because of all the meme coins and the deep in. And obviously we'll get into the deep in stuff you guys are doing as well. But you know what I mean? Like it's sort of weird how the Web3 narratives take place,
Absolutely. I mean, narrative certainly matters, but maybe an HBAR ETF will be trading on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange,
Yes.
or any of these other TradFi exchanges that are out there. So, Canary Capital recently filed for that S1, and we're really excited as an ecosystem to see that come to market, because there is a whole world of investors that don't want to deal with self-custody or custody solutions, don't have the desire to onboard to a cryptocurrency exchange, but want to use, they want to use their existing financial providers.
ETFs are beautiful. They're so nice. I do 4 clicks on I'm a TD guy, back home in Toronto, one of the biggest banks, I think second biggest bank in Canada. A couple clicks, boom. I can buy the HBAR ETF when it comes out, like if I want to hold HBAR, it's a bit of a shit show. If I want to hold any crypto, it's a bit of a shit show, but this just makes it so easy. How big is that? What is the significance of this when it comes out? And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, and I know this is a forward, looking comment, but it's pretty much priced in by now. Maybe not priced in, but it's penciled in, right?
Well, I don't know if it's priced in, right? But I know the application has been filed, right? And so it's a public statement with the SEC. I think that the ecosystem is really excited for that. And on a personal basis, there is something to be said about making new frictionless avenues for investment, right?
Yes.
And whether that's in your, IRA, your retirement accounts, or in regular brokerage, there's so much capital that's sitting on the sidelines in boomer and X generations. I mean, those are some of the wealthiest generations in the world. And, this I think is a potential avenue for growing that demand. And then there's the institutional side too. So just being able to have it plugged in, I think is a really big thing, and I'm excited for that to come to fruition. And of course, there might be additional ETFs down the road that have basket products with multiple cryptocurrencies. And I think to the extent we're able to get the disclosures out there in a public open source manner, then the ability to include HBAR and those future basket products increases. And so really excited about that opportunity.
I love that basket point you brought up. I've been waiting for that for a while. I know so many boomers who would just absolutely be mightily horny, for a lack of better words, at the opportunity to, I can get access to Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, HBAR, and insert the next couple, chains, coins, cryptos you want. I mean, that's just like, who knows? I mean, with Trump coming in, we got 4 years. I think it's going to happen, but that's got to be gold mine and like all systems go. That's got to be a pretty darn good thing to see,
Yeah, well, and on the political landscape, right, everything's shifted. And I think to the benefit of U.S.-based protocols like Hedera. And so the market seems to have priced in or continues to evaluate domestic versus non-domestic protocols in a slightly different way. So, I think there's certainly room to run, and I'm excited about where the political landscape is going to change to favor the industry as a whole.
So cool. I want to jump into Hedera's DLT, what it offers enterprises, and really just the tokenization of everything. I mean, tokenizing everything on Hedera is extremely efficient, very easy, low friction. You guys also launched the Asset Tokenization Studio, which I love. You got to tell us a little bit more about this and just how you guys make it so easy, and just the importance of tokenizing everything, and how it really just makes, like you said a couple minutes ago, and it's a thesis that I absolutely love, is just sort of bridging TradFi and Web3 and opening up new avenues for investing.
Yeah, I mean it's critical that there are these avenues that are established, and Hedera has so many different components that set it apart. But don't you hate it when you're using a protocol and all of a sudden the gas fees go through the roof, and there's a meme drop or something that's happening, and like you can't process your transaction. It's not going through. Or I saw somewhere on Twitter the other day that someone paid like $200,000 in Solana fees, gas fees.
I saw that. I saw that.
It's insane. That's not a scalable solution. And so, Hedera doesn't have fees that are structured with cert pricing. And so that is one of the core components of the technology and a structural change from most other protocols that really make it usable, for a retail person, but also for a corporation. If they want to budget a certain allocation for what's going to cost them to run infrastructure, they can do that. So I think that's really powerful. And then there are other components, to the extent that this industry as a whole is going to be adopted by the masses, there needs to be safeguards, right? Don't you hate that feeling every time you send a transaction? You're like, oh, I really hope it goes through. Or, you kind of feel it in your stomach, or that constant fear that everybody is sitting there that's doing self-custody saying, what if I lose my keys? What if I, lose my backup phrase? There needs to be these services. And that's where the DREC Alliance, which is really led by Lehman and the founder of Hedera, co-founder, and, creating these methods. And so I think that there's more protocols that are coming on board with that. It's creating partnerships and bonds between other protocols, specifically the US ones like Cardano and Algorand and others. And so I think that's going to really be a factor that's going to open up the floodgates for more people to come on, because there's more safeguards in place.
Well said. Greg, you're on a roll right now. We got to take a quick break and give a huge shout out to our sponsor of the show, Prime XPT. And when we get back, we are going to keep buzzing on everything HBAR and Hedera related. Until then, huge shout out to Prime XPT, longtime friends and longtime sponsors of the Crypto News Pod. We love these guys and gals as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet. You can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. Prime XBT is also running an exclusive promo for listeners of the Crypto News podcast. You can use the promo code CryptoNews50, that is CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, that is CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. And now back to the show with Greg. Greg, I got to ask one of the sort of cop-out but very trendy and top of mind questions here, and that is AI. Everyone, all the listeners, all of the crypto community is concerned, definitely not the right word, but just interested, keen on how different chains and companies are using and utilizing and integrating AI into their ecosystem. Anything you got on that, you got to let us know, because again, everyone's keen to know, how is HBAR and Hedera utilizing AI present day?
I mean, Hedera is perfectly not weird.
Yes.
It's a match made in heaven. When it comes to transactions, I think in that long-term vision, it's not about just the next billion users, individuals that are going to come on, but it's the trillions of transactions, devices that are going to come on from AI and beyond. We look at Internet of Things, where already today there's RFID chips and scanners and different device to device types of transactions, including those that, as of yesterday, SpaceX launched a satellite carrying WiSki products that are going to, enable satellite to satellite transactions in space in the future. So that's really exciting. And AI is only going to accelerate that. But there's got to be an inherent trust problem, right? And I think that is where Hedera, as this trust layer of the internet, is really powerful, because already we see the ability for deep fakes. Already in AI, we already see the ability to have there be hallucinations. And so, do we really have that embedded trust in the output or the communications of AI today? And I think the answer is no. And there probably will be regulation that will come with that. But there's a whole bunch of companies that are working on Hedera, Prove AI, which is the former Casper team, as well as Equity Labs. Equity Labs is doing something that's incredible. They're working directly with Intel and NVIDIA and embedding on the chip layer a Hedera solution for trusting the source of information that comes through AI. And so that's just, to me, incredible, because it's actually a layer below, right? When you talk about the trust layer of the internet, it's a core foundational component.
Well said. Yeah.
And then, ChatGPT and Anthropic, they're where are they buying their chips? They're buying them from NVIDIA and Intel, right? And so when you have Hedera built into the chip layer, you're talking about providing a trust component directly into all these AI and growing from there. So I think it's a really exciting component, but that requires a platform that scales, right? And there is no platform, no protocol has proven scalability the way that Hedera has in terms of its transaction throughput, its speed, its the quantity of transactions, and not going down. And so, I think there is just a tremendous amount of expansion that we're going to see with AI, and that goes in a whole bunch of different directions because AI touches every industry, every single one. And with the ELIZA framework and plugins, there's so much more interactions that we're going to see as people interacting with AI, but then also the AI to AI, commerce. It's just, we are at such an exciting time right now, and I think we're going to look back in a year or two and say, wow,
I know.
How different things are. And already, I use AI on the regular. I'm sure most people do now. It's like if you want a question answered or you need help formatting an email or a long form, you get the assistance from AI. And so that's just going to continue, and having trust in the output, like show your sources and elementary school math, it's going to be huge.
You're so big on there. The whole AI thing does spook me out, Greg. Like, I mean, heck, even yesterday I went for a walk. I had a bit of time in between meetings, wanted to get some sun down here in Mexico, trying to get better at Spanish. Getting better, probably conversational now, but want to be more than conversational kind of thing. And I was speaking with ChatGPT in Spanish, like, messing around. It's okay. Well, there's my Spanish teacher. It cost me $30 a month. Like, it's insane. And then I had some incredible guests on the pod this month. One worked in the AI sort of, decentralized commerce space as well. There's going to be a world where we just pull up our phones and go, hey, order me that sick HBAR jacket that Greg has. Boom. It's going to order it. Like, do you accept using your Hedera wallet or your Tether wallet or your Circle wallet? Yes, I do. Boom. It's ordered right to my doorstep. And then there's the crypto AI, which I'm super excited for as well. When I go I just speak to it, take $1,000 worth of Circle and get me some HBAR. Boom. Like, it is going to be so wild. And part of me is excited. Part of me spooked out. I've never really experienced anything like this in my life. I'm a 95. So I was sort of born into I was just on the verge of being born into the whole tech thing. When I was in like grade 6, got my first phone, was a Motorola Razr. So everyone my age knows how to use phones, computers, but it's not like, my parents really had to learn how to use computers. Like, anyways, I'm sort of blabbing, I'm going off the rails, but it's going to be wild.
The amazing thing is that this narrative, right, of AI, which it's more than a narrative, it's the reality that we are all living in, but it's not homegrown from the crypto industry.
Yes.
Right. This is something that is coming from externally. And that's actually the kind of the first time you look at past cycles, DeFi, DeFi is big. You could argue that finance kind of is external, but it's very native to DeFi is very native to crypto, whereas AI applications are somewhat external, but I think they very well might be the biggest application and the biggest proving point for this industry.
100%. And one thing with AI that I think a lot of the Web 2 folks aren't maybe so aware of, and when I say Web 2 folks, I'm not putting anyone down in any capacity, but in order to do anything commerce related, like, there's no way that banks, again, I'll use TD as I'm a TD guy. TD is not going to be like, yo, hey, Matt, 100% we're going to let you connect your TD bank account to your LLM. Fuck that. There's no chance they're going to let that happen. So if you want to use commerce and AI and LLMs, it pretty much has to be crypto. I don't see another world in which the big banks are going to be like, yeah, if you fire away, we're going to let your LLM buy shit with a commit. No, it's not going to happen. So you're going to need to partner with credible companies like HBAR, Hedera. You're going to need the stable coins, the Circles, the Tethers. That's going to sort of open up this next frontier of AI, in my opinion, because right now you can't really do that. And without crypto and blockchain, you can't use commerce on AI.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned stablecoin. I mean, and also tokenization of everything, but that the stablecoin network, and of course there is USDC native on Hedera. Hedera has a very low price point for transactions, so it makes it micro payments and small transactions very effective. Recently, there was a launch of a new stablecoin in the Philippines. That was, I want to say, last week.
Yeah.
The Philippines, the population there is 1/3 of the US. It's huge, enormous population. And it's a young population too. It's about an average age of 25. So you've got a tech savvy young population that is enormous. that's frequently involved in remittance types of payments. And so I think there's a huge opportunity for, stablecoins in a number of different countries where, they need technology first solution, right? Trusting the banking solutions in third world developing nations. It's not what we have in the US and in Canada and some of the other countries in terms of sure the reliability. So I think there's a lot of excitement there. And then you see on Hedera a whole bunch of financial product tokenization as well, right? We've got everything from commodities. There's a company called Diamond Standard. They have, I want to say it's something like 16 billion in commoditized diamonds that are tokenized.
Jesus.
It's huge. And then you've got, Cask Capital that does whiskey barrels. So you can have a fractionalized component of whiskey that's tokenized. And then it runs everything from, the more standard TradFi money market funds, right? So, and we've got the Aberdeen. Aberdeen happens to be a governing council member on Hedera, but they're the largest asset manager in the UK. So they have their money market funds that are tokenized on Hedera, as well as BlackRock's money market funds that were all made possible by a firm Archax, a regulated exchange in the UK. So you got sort of those types of fixed income products. And then you have, the stable coins, remittance. Shinhan Bank, another governing council member, as a project as relates to remittance. And there's more stable coins. There's more just general tokenization of all financial products. And where I think there will be more and more development, what I'm really excited about is where we can prove to the world why tokenization of something is better, right? Right now, it's more or less, taking a digital receipt of ownership and putting it on chain.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
And that has benefit. But there's so much more you can do with programmable money. And especially when you have a platform that can scale the way Hedera does and doesn't have fees that make it prohibitive to actually operate transactions, or the ability to front run, right? Hedera has this, a unique consensus mechanism that has fair ordering. And so in comparison to the others that have a mempool, where you can actually front run within the mempool. So if you make a transaction, I can see that, and then I could pay more gas fee to front run you.
Yeah.
Right. If you're talking about a regulated financial product, that's a non-starter. You cannot use that type of structure. Like that is.
Yeah, it's true.
A real regulatory issue.
No bueno.
It's not good. But with DEX type structures that have fair ordering, it's a very powerful combination.
I love that.
So I think there's going to be this explosion of financial products that will be tokenized, and it's to the benefit of us as users, but it's also going to move by machine to machine, right? There are going to be AI bots and agents that are going to be everywhere, and that's pretty exciting.
Wow, Greg, you're on a roll here. I wish we had more time. We're going to have you on for round 2 because we barely scratched the surface. But before we let you go, talk about the 2025 roadmap. Again, you guys are one of the biggest companies in the space, one of the most reputable, one of the most loved for all good reasons. Walking through some of the crazy things you guys are doing this year. Obviously, we discussed a bunch of AI tokenization. You guys have partnerships with massive companies, NVIDIA, Chainlink, you name it. But maybe just give me some of your favorite things, because again, it would take a whole hour to go through everything you guys have on the go for 2025. But give me some of the hot, trendy, sexy points for 2025 HBAR roadmap.
Well, it's an open source protocol. It's managed now. The code's managed by the Linux Foundation, so anybody can build on it, right? And that's the power. And so in many ways, we're just here to amplify the messaging and bring awareness to all the hard work that many developers have done. So, I think that what we'll see from the HBAR Foundation or the Hedera Foundation now is really to ensure that the building blocks are there so that developer can do what they do best and build. And so that's everything from ensuring that there are improved relay service providers. We're really excited about QuickNode and Validation Cloud, two of the premier validation service companies coming on and helping provide SDKs and toolkits, making it really easy to connect to Hedera's EVM. And then there are, more custody integrations so that, all of the service providers that everybody loves and uses today are really seamless for Hedera, whether that's Metabase or Fireblocks or Copper or BitGo and Hashpack, all of the components that make the starting gate easy for, getting ready to do what you really want to do and build.
I love that. What an episode, Greg. Really appreciate you coming on. Before you let us go, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you personally and, of course, HBAR online and on socials?
Of course. Yeah, the best information source really is hedera.com and then the HBARfoundation.org. You can also find me on Twitter, Gregory L. Bell.
Awesome. Folks, what an episode with Gregg Bell, SVP at the HBAR Foundation. He was on a roll. We touched a little bit of everything, creating new investment vehicles, tokenization, creating the trust layer of the internet, the future of AI and crypto, Hedera's DLT, the recent HBAR ETF filing, which I absolutely love and which I will be dabbling in via one of my publicly traded investment vehicles like the TFSA or RSP in Canada for those Canadian listeners. Super easy way to get some exposure to HBAR, and it's obviously tax-free. What a treat. Again, huge shout out to Greg and the team for making this happen. If you guys enjoyed this one, I hope you did. Please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I. Speaking to the team, love you guys. Thank you for everything. And back to the listeners, keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.